Coming up on EagleVision News, we tell you about one 16-year-old who is sailing to the top of the president's radar.
And what's caused a former college student to get 1 year in jail.
Find out what Grammy Award winner visits Biola's campus.
All this and more coming up on EagleVision News.
Hello and welcome to EagleVision News. I'm Stacy Rasmussen.
And I'm Tori Apodaca. Your top stories tonight. 16-year-old climate activist Greta Thunberg delivers an emotional speech at the United Nations Climate Summit.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones.
The Swedish climate activist sailed to New York to reduce her carbon footprint and reprimand world leaders for failing to take any action to combat climate change.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you!
Thunberg is the face of a global movement of young people demanding world leaders to preserve their planet's future. She first drew global attention with her Fridays for Future international movement in 2018, where she urged students across the globe to skip school on Fridays to protest against climate change. She now urges leaders to listen to the scientists as she continues to inform people about the urgent crisis.
Los Angeles holds mock election. LA County was one of 50 locations that held a mock election to introduce voters to a new voting system. Officials said that the new electronic ballot would be easier to understand with an interactive display and will be accessible in 13 languages. Voters can access interactive sample ballots on their iPhone or computer, which allows them to mark their selections ahead of time. Once they get to the voting location, they will transfer their responses to the ballot marking device through scanning a poll pass. The ballot is not connected to the internet to ensure election security.
Former UC Irvine student pleads guilty to posing as a children's hospital doctor. 23-year-old Araya Askoyan pleaded guilty to impersonating a doctor in a consult room on the UC Irvine campus. Askoyan diagnosed a patient with a growth on his neck on May 3, 2018. He was also accused of at least 7 other accounts of doctor impersonations in an Orange County Children's Hospital and an additional felony, but these were dropped as part of the plea deal. Askoyan will serve 1 year in prison, 150 hours of community service, and 5 years of informal probation for his crime.
21st annual Wiggle Waggle Walk happens in Pasadena. Over 2,000 dogs and their owners showed up at Brookside Park at the Rose Bowl to participate in the dog walk. This is a community event and fundraiser put on to help raise money for the Humane Society. They have already almost hit the $225,000 fundraising goal in order to help with veterinary care, shelter, vaccinations, microchipping, and much more. If you would like to donate to the Pasadena Humane Society, you can visit their website at pasadenahumane.org. You know, Tori, we have a Grammy Award winner at Biola this week.
Yes, and our reporter Bailey Bricky is at the event.
Students gathered early to get in line for the Biola Hour Chapel with guest Matt Redman. The chapel opened with worship and went on with a podcast-styled conversation.
And then it goes on to saying, upon his head a crown of thorns. But then it moves into like, and so upon him we're going to pour out praises. So I kind of like that.
I'm here after Biola University's Biola Hour Chapel, where Matt Redman is taking photos with students after an interview with Mike On. It was also shared with students that Redman will be leading worship at this year's Tori conference. So how did you hear about Biola University?
Well, I think I've been coming over to California for probably 20 years, honestly. And so I think I've heard the name a few times, but I finally got on campus a little while ago. And I know Barry in the music and worship department and a few other people here. And so it's awesome to get on campus, finally, after a lot of years.
What advice would you have for Biola University students?
I think my advice would be to put everything through the filter of the kingdom of God. Everything, like the way you handle social media, the way you treat other people, the way you approach your studies, we're in a culture, so the culture's telling you the whole time how to approach these things, how to handle these things, but often the values are not the same as the values of the kingdom of God. So take all that stuff and run it through the filter of the kingdom of God. Am I stewarding this well? Am I, with my studies, am I approaching this like a servant of the Most High God and a son of the King, and with a perfect father, and so that would be my advice.
This has been Bailey Brickey with Biola University EagleVision.
This week has been a busy one for baseball as the playoffs are coming up.
And our reporter Joey Mistretta is here to give us some insight on what's happening. Joey?
Thanks, guys. The regular season is officially over, and the wild card games are set to take place this week. The Milwaukee Brewers will head to Washington, D.C. to take on the Washington Nationals in the National League wild card game. Veteran ace Max Scherzer gets the call for Washington, as breakout star Brandon Woodruff will start for the Brewers. Washington will enter the game on a hot streak, following a weekend sweep of the Cleveland Indians. The first pitch will be at 7:08 p.m. Central Time. The American League wild card game will take place on Wednesday. The Tampa Bay Rays will be heading out west to play the Oakland A's. Both teams were able to hold off the Indians in the last week of the season to secure the number 1 and 2 remaining playoff spots. All-star Charlie Morton will start for Tampa, but Oakland has not yet announced who will get the start. First pitch is scheduled for 5:09 p.m. Pacific Time. The wild card teams will then take on the number 1 seed in each league. Our local Dodgers hold the top seed in the National League, and the Houston Astros hold the number 1 seed in the American League. So yeah, the Dodgers are back in the playoffs again. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know. They're not always very good in postseason, so I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the Dodgers and the Yankees meet up, final 2 at the end.
That would be historic, but I got to say my picks are actually the Braves and the Astros, so I'm not going local. I don't know why. It's just what I'm going with, so, it is what it is.
I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens.
Let it play out.
Speaking of sports, our reporter Ashley Grams is at Chase Gymnasium covering Biola's annual Nation Ball event.
Biola University's Nation Ball began with the unified singing of our national anthem, but soon after the song, all bets were off as each dorm prepared to battle on the dodgeball court.
What's the whole strategy? You know what? We're just so blessed to be out here. We're gonna go from nothing into a dub. Is that right, boy? That's right, boy. That's right.
Hundreds of students showed up to Chase Gymnasium dressed in the color of their dorm. The matchups were chosen at random and displayed on the screen throughout the competition.
Biola's Nation Ball is going on behind me, and the energy in the room is electric. Behind me, you can see my team, Hope in pink. We got Sigma down in yellow. We got Horton in black, and all the other dorms represented around the gym.
After several games took place, Biola students took a break to dance. This included a dance battle between dorms in the middle of the gym floor. Winners took home the honor of representing their team. Others took the free space and had their own dance party, appreciating the music and time to hang out with friends. But no one forgot the purpose of the night as off-campus community walked away with the win. This has been Ashley Grams, Biola University, EagleVision News.
Purple OCC!
It finally started to feel like fall these past few days.
Let's go to Quinn to see if the colder weather is here to stay.
Awesome, thank you guys. Right behind me, we got our EagleVision after party house. This is where we go after the show to celebrate. Take a nice dip in the pool up in the Hollywood Hills. Beautiful home, but before we get to that, we got to get to the local weather. So this today up in La Mirada here, it's getting to that point in the year where it's cold in the mornings and hot in the afternoons. So if you're planning to be out in the early morning or late at night, make sure you bring extra layers with you so you can layer up, stay nice and warm. Moving on to the national forecast, we're going to take a look at the eastern seaboard. We're actually experiencing a huge heat wave on the East Coast today. So upper 90s, upper 80s through much of the East Coast. You can see if I move over here, Montgomery, Alabama is actually experiencing 98 degrees throughout this entire week. So definitely record-breaking temperatures out there. If you have family out there, tell them to stay plenty hydrated because it's going to be hot. Here in LA, pretty consistent temperatures as always. Sunny, upper 70s, lower 80s. The earlier part of the week, we're going to have 78, 82 degrees for most of this week. It's going to be nice and sunny going into the weekend. Mid 80s, 85, 84. So make sure you head on out to the beach. Take advantage of that nice sunny weather before we hit that fall weather going into the later months of this year. So head down to the beach. I know I personally, I'm probably going to go surfing this weekend, bring a couple of my buddies with me. So have a good time, you guys. That's it from me. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Quinn. It looks like things are still heating up.
Yes, and our reporter Adam Piggott is getting some dance lessons at Biola's Fiesta Latina.
Viva the Hispanic Heritage Month! Viva! Viva el mariachi y la salsa! Viva!
For 10 years now, Fiesta Latina has been a tradition at Biola University. Last Friday, student programming and activities and the Unidos Club continued that tradition.
We just want to cultivate more change and just bring more students to acknowledge the importance of culture and diversity here at Biola. So bringing Fiesta Latina was a great way of being in the middle of campus with loud music, with a lot of food, with different background stories, and even faculty on staff even sharing their experience here at Biola.
There was no shortage of food at Fiesta Latina, as Cuban congri, El Salvadorian pupusas, Brazilian picanha, and Argentinian empanadas were all served. However, feeding partygoers was just the tip of the iceberg.
Here at Fiesta Latina, there's games, food, and of course, plenty of dancing.
Students participated in salsa dancing throughout the event. Dancers from the Granada LA, a Los Angeles-based dance studio, also performed.
We actually just had a salsa dance class, and it was really fun. And so this is the way in which we wanted to share our culture with the campus.
Whether it was through serving different dishes or flying the flags of various Latin American countries, Fiesta Latina shared their culture in a very creative way. But to some, it has done more than just entertain.
As a freshman, when you first come on campus, you might not know exactly where you fit in. So having an event like this, even just passing by, not knowing about it, hearing your music or music that you've grown up with, already lives you up.
Whether it is food, dancing, or simply wanting to get a taste of home, Fiesta Latina has something for everyone. This is Adam Piggott for EagleVision News.
One of our reporters, Briana, Byus, takes us into the CAF for a fun fall treat. Well, fall is here, and to celebrate, we're going to teach you how to make apple pie tacos in the CAF. Let's go!
First, I made my way around the CAF, gathering supplies such as a knife and a tortilla from the sandwich station. I used flour. Then, I found a cinnamon shaker with the coffee and tea. Finally, I scooped some butter into a portion cup and took everything back to the counter to grab an apple.
Now we've got the ingredients, let's put it all together.
To make the apple pie taco, I started by generously buttering the tortilla. Then, I chopped a green apple into small pieces so that they would easily soften. I found that one apple was enough, but feel free to use as many as you'd like. I layered the pieces on the tortilla, and then, for some apple pie flavor, sprinkled it with cinnamon. After wrapping it up, it was ready to be cooked in the microwave. I put mine in for 1 minute and 30 seconds, but if you don't want your apples quite as cooked, I'd recommend only 40 seconds. You would also not have to wait as long. When the timer beeped, I applied the optional step of sprinkling some extra cinnamon on top.
Well, this is our finished apple pie taco. It smells delicious. I'm Briana Byus, cooking in the CAF for EagleVision News.
So we just heard that Briana actually has made the treats.
Should we bring her in?
Absolutely. Briana?
Hey guys, I thought you looked a little hungry.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
They seriously smell so good.
They smell like fall, truly.
And because it's apples, they're healthy, right?
100%. I think it works like that. It's like organic. Yeah.
Okay, let's try it.
Ready?
Yep.
1, 2.
Oh my gosh.
Are they good?
So good. I seriously don't know how you made this in the CAF.
Yeah, I got some consulting advice from the CAF chefs, and they helped me out.
Wow.
This is impressive.
It really is. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's all the stories we have for you tonight. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Biola EV. See you next time on EagleVision News.
I know.
Ready? I'll make you one. That's good.